Welcome, bout betters. There has been continued line movement, and it's interesting to see favorites like Mike Grundy and Muhammad Mokaev surge a little bit, and finally Ilia Topuria spiked today. Ilia Topuria is one of my Yankee pieces with Tom Aspinall, and I think there is still value if you pair these two with any of the aforementioned as a set, or if you utilize them as a pillar for another grouping. But as I've suggested, I think the time to move is now, as I suspect their combined value to still drain out in terms of trying to parlay them. They're going to be big favorites at some point. Another match that caught my attention when it was even money was the bout between Molly McCann, who is now the minus 134 favorite, and LUANA Carolina, a plus 105 underdog. Carolina has been a moneymaker for me, as I predicted her last two victories against short notice Godinez and Paulina Botello and Priscilla Cachoeira. I've made a lot of money off of LUANA Carolina. She is a highly underrated, unrespected fighter. Likewise, I have made money betting against Molly McCann, who has a 4-3 record inside the octagon. Each has a similar strength of schedule, with opponents having less than mediocre opponent win percentages and opponent UFC win percentages amongst losses. Neither has fought ranked UFC competition, but LUANA has been more successful and consistent in the UFC. A lot of that is that she's tall and physical woman for the division. She is a big beast. She will have a distinct and staggering 7-inch reach advantage, but only a 2-inch height advantage. LUANA knows how to utilize this to her advantage and has decent fight awareness. I'm surprised that McCann spends more time at range, and I think this is due to LUANA's opponent successfully closing distance in fighting in the clinch or in close quarters. Because of her size, most fighters immediately want to close distance, but while she does have a lack of power, she does have decent kickboxing and timing and offensive volume, and she's able to catch a lot of fighters and score points as they're trying to take her down. McCann may be statistically more active striker, but she is a brawler, and her boxing technique is not as refined as LUANA Carolina. Yes, Molly is slightly more accurate, but I don't expect her to point fight LUANA Carolina. Despite never winning by knockout or submission, neither of these women possess finishing power, and both LUANA and Molly McCann have faced power brawlers in Priscilla Cachoeira, and both have utilized their grappling for decision victories. That being said, it's not necessarily the case that Molly McCann can't win a brawl. Yes, she might lose a kickboxing match, but if this turns into an offensive brawl, she will have some advantages, I think, as her volume isn't fantastic, but it's up there, and she could definitely stun or hurt LUANA Carolina despite not having that knockout power or that knockdown rate. LUANA Carolina is better in the clinch and may have better jiu-jitsu, but I think McCann's main path to victory is still in the offensive wrestling, where McCann has a takedown ratio of 11-15, which is not great, as if LUANA comes in with a grappling-heavy approach, she can steal rounds via control time and even seek a submission, as each has attempted 4 submissions in the UFC. Molly McCann's aggression and how to implement her grappling via that aggression is the win condition. Thing is, she does not have a high fight IQ. Yes, she attempts more takedowns, but she telegraphs her efforts and eats punches as she recklessly closes in. Carolina will probably look not to grapple, as she can easily, I think, outpoint McCann, who is too comfortable exchanging strikes. I went out on a limb and invested her at even money. I also went as far as to put her in my Yankee play despite her being close to that even money. Molly McCann is now minus 131, and due to her home field advantage and her luck of the charm, Patty Pimblett, I think that she might actually gain or become even more of a favorite. I think her striking and grappling aggression will yield dividends, as Lupita Godinez is a far better grappler than Molly McCann, but she was on short notice and far smaller than Molly and got 7.5 minutes of control time from 2 successful takedowns. McCann's win condition is the way she's going to mix it up, and that grappling. If LUANA stuffs the takedowns early, look for McCann to gas. This is going to be an explosive and sloppy women's match. If they stay on the feet, it can actually be very, very exciting. But I'm hoping that Molly McCann can use her grappling abilities to stuff LUANA. stifle her offensive production, keep her on the mat, keep her on the cage, and win out a decision. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you've made it this far, you are about better.